Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the Armchair Booking Wrestling Podcast. I'm your host. My name is Stunning Steve Barber. And if you're on YouTube, you already know this, that I'm not alone. I have with me, formerly known as Ted the Hillbilly Hill, now he's just Ted Hill, from the great podcast, still though it used to be The Hill Truth, now it's just Ted's Takes. How you doing, Ted?
Hey, doing good, doing good. Yeah, it's time for a gimmick change. You know, like Chris Jericho, you always got to reinvent yourself. Keep yourself fresh.
Oh, yeah, because the first time I saw Ted's Takes pop up, because I use Apple Podcasts, I'm like, what is this? Oh, did Ted change his name? And so,
Well, and that was the thing, and I apologize to everybody. And I told them, you know, it's I've started concentrating on the YouTube, and I found out the old algorithm does better if you got the word wrestling in your title somewhere. So we
oh, yeah.
just changed it, and I'm hoping some people that their autocorrect doesn't mess up, or it does autocorrect, and they are putting Ted Talks that it accidentally puts Ted Takes, and I can get some of that demographic too.
Yeah. My show a couple weeks ago, I think because of the title, and it actually was not intentional, but I called it like the kickoff show. And I think people were searching and it popped up on that. So all of a sudden, I mean, I was just getting all kinds of views. Like within the first 24 hours, I was like, whoa. Then I looked at the title, I was like, oh, my bad. That was not intentional. So if somebody comes at me, sorry, I don't do things like that. I mean, I get how it would work, but like you said, you know what? If there's their typo, then
well, and that's the thing. And to be honest, and I've told people this before, I'm a carny at heart. That's why I love wrestling. So, you know.
And in case when Dwaylen is still out right now, I mean, we still wish him all thoughts and prayers going for him because he just has a lot going on, and his wife, baby's just cooking right now, about 31, 32 weeks along. So, they've got to hit that stage where all the baby's doing is just growing, so, and then of course, once the baby has introduced himself to the world, then we also know Dwaylen's not going to be sleeping for a few months.
No.
So, but I have reached out to Dwaylen to ask his takes or his predictions because we're going to be discussing the Elimination Chamber. We're going to be doing a preview of it and our own predictions. And if you already know Ted, he is the Podfather. He is the one everybody turns to, the sage, wise old man with advice, even though you're really not that much older than I am. So I can't really call you old.
I'm old.
I mean, I hit the half century mark. In fact, Joel and I both hit the half century mark last year. So, and we still like wrestling because, like I told a couple people, they're like, "What's your podcast about?" I was like, "It's wrestling because I'm still 12." So, but we enjoy it, and that's what matters. So, but I'm gonna pull a Ted actually, and we've done this before because you pointed out that a lot of people don't make it to the end of the podcast, and so at the beginning of the podcast, we want to hear. How do people find your show? In fact, all your shows, audio and video.
Audio, wherever you get your audio stuff at. And like I said, it used to be The Hill Truth, but it's Ted's Takes on Wrestling, Spotify, all that. YouTube, Ted's Takes on Wrestling, and we're trying to concentrate on the videos over there, so go check them out. Have a lot of fun shorts, different little videos, try to keep them a little shorter. So you can get that in, get it out. And I'm not on social media because Twitter was just a cesspool of toxicity. And but you can reach me still at hilltruthpodcast@gmail.com.
Because I do know if you try to change your email address, that's a big old pain.
Yes, I just left that. We're just going to leave it.
But it also lets people know it's authentic. Oh, this really is Ted because the Hill Truth.
That's right.
Oh, and I also want to give some other shout outs to some podcaster friend of ours. First of all, BC Hunter from Wrestling with the 80s and also Wrestling with the Truth. He actually put a couple of right after he was on this show because he had told me, he said he barely even touches the audio anymore.
Yeah.
But then all of a sudden he put on an episode the very next week.
Yeah.
But yeah, BC, he's awesome. Another guy, I mean, he just is such a wealth of knowledge when it comes to wrestling. He's right about our age, too. So, I mean, he follows a lot of the old school stuff. Also, our friends at Finish Your Wrestling, because today we're doing a preview. On Sunday, I'm going to have at least one of the guys from Finish Your Wrestling come on to do a review.
Okay.
So I've had a lot of support from a lot of people, and who've been stepping up saying, hey, if you need help, because we really like your
Absolutely.
podcast, so and so we've had Ted on before, and so we obviously we like Ted because we mention him on the show all the time. We would tag him on our social media, but he don't do that anymore.
I don't do that no more.
He Ted's too cool for school. Y'all just don't get it, you know. But if you know how to find him, then you are truly blessed.
Yes.
But so when it comes to now, we are just, wow, I would say days, but I'll say a day and a half
Yeah.
away from the elimination. They're calling it Elimination Chamber Perth.
Yeah.
Fair enough. Um, and I like the Elimination Chamber. I think it's one of those that it could be one of their top ones. And in fact, now that I'm looking at the stipulations, whoever wins the men's gets a shot at Seth Rollins. The one,
Hmm.
whoever is a Rumble winner, is not going against, and the women's is
Right.
going against. Same thing. So now they're throwing the stipulations in there because the Elimination Chamber. It's a cool match, to be honest with you.
I like the Elimination Chamber, but I'm going to be honest, I don't like where it's positioned. I'm a little leery of these PLEs, pay-per-views in between Rumble and Mania, because as we get into the predictions, sometimes I think it can be a little predictable. I think the Chamber, I would rather it be a little bit later in the year, but I understand from the money standpoint and everything what they're doing. And I'm glad Australia is getting a show, but then I also feel sorry for Australia because, Gunther can't be there. Punk is injured, so it's one of those where, they'll get the hometown hero and Rhea Ripley,
Yeah.
but I don't know. I guess I'm old school on that. I wish we went straight from the Rumble to WrestleMania, because sometimes it can be a little predictable.
Yeah, because there's a few months in between, and there have been some of the PLEs, pay-per-views, if you still live in anywhere else besides the US. And I don't know about Canada. I don't know if they still get the network or do they go on Peacock as well.
Sure.
We'll have to ask BC. I have to ask him. So BC, whenever you hear this, shoot me a message. You know how to get hold of me. Let me know. But some of the events, we'll just put like that, that's between the Rumble and WrestleMania, some of them have just been kind of like, eh,
Yeah.
and it's not necessarily fair because we already had the Rumble, which to me is the one I actually look forward to every year.
Yeah.
Is the Rumble, but of course then you also have WrestleMania, which is the biggest event, period.
Yep.
And it is, even if it's not that good, but it's still the most.
Yeah.
Non-wrestling fans know about WrestleMania, and so there's just a lot of time, which means there's also a lot of time for bad things to happen.
Yeah.
And we've already seen that. I mean, good thing Punk didn't win the Rumble because he's not going to be at Mania, or not, at least not wrestling anyway. Although I have enjoyed his commentary. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
I'm not a Punk fan, but his commentary, I'm like, you know what? That's pretty good. So
Yeah. I think you can add to it, and it keeps him in the mix, so people are remembering, hey, he's still around. So yeah, I think it'd be good.
and of course with Punk, I'm waiting for the other shoe to drop. I hate to say that because I want to give the man, I want to give him a chance, but it's like,
Yeah.
well, there's been a pattern. What is
Yeah.
that?
Yeah. Yeah.
After explaining it to my son, because he's like, well, why don't you trust me? Because there's been a pattern of doing things that.
Yeah, it's an old preacher that church I went to. And again, if this applies to any of you listeners, I apologize, but this man had a little wisdom. He said, if you're a man or a woman and you've been married 6 times, it may not be the other person's fault. You may want to start looking in the mirror, or maybe a pattern there.
Yeah. Taylor Swift ain't been married 6 times, but she's had about 6 albums where it's been different.
It's all, yeah. And that's, and I hate it because I actually like listening to the Kelsey Brothers podcast at times. And if her and Travis don't work out, man, it's going to be brutal. It's going to be brutal. That's all I'm going to say.
I have heard a response from Dwaylen. Right now, all he says is cool, because I said I'm getting ready to report with you.
Okay.
But he hasn't given me his predictions yet. So as you know, hopefully he'll give me his predictions as we're recording. I mean, this is real time as we're doing this.
Okay.
Um, you know, but yeah, and by the way, I don't hate Taylor Swift. I don't want the Swifties coming after me because
No, no, no,
they are some of the crazy. I don't want to have like a whole bunch of them in my front
no,
yard tomorrow,
no, no,
and
no.
because they will cut you. Because I do appreciate, because she's a very good songwriter. She plays all instruments.
Right.
It's just not my type of music, normally.
Yeah.
And if you listen to my other podcast, the Cubicle Chat, because I did an episode yesterday called "Why I Like Metal."
Yeah.
So um, so go check that one out as well. I'm just a busy man lately doing a whole lot of podcasts. So Elimination Chamber, the first match, and I'm just going by what they have listed on Wikipedia. I think it's rare that they actually get the match order correct. Because
Yeah.
I mean, how do they know? I mean, honestly, they're just putting them in there as the matches come. So, but the first one is the tag team match with the undisputed WWE Tag Team Championship. Judgment Day, which was Finn Balor and Damian Priest, against what they're now calling the New Catch Republic.
Yeah.
Pete Dunne, Tyler Bate, which I like that team.
Yeah, I do too.
I don't know what to think about the name, to be honest with you. That's well, that's like an old school British type
Yes.
name. So lived in England for 6.5 years, so I get it. But at the same time,
Yeah.
I'm like, it's kind of hard to. It doesn't roll off your tongue.
Well, it's one of them Jim Rossisms, catch us, catch can wrestling,
Yep. Sassafras.
Yeah.
So I have my own prediction about this one, and I'll actually thought. And normally I would have the guest tell me theirs, but this one, because it's Ted, the man with all the wisdom. And I just want to get your opinion on this prediction here. I think it's going to be Balor and Priest. They're going to retain. However, they are still going to split up. Finn's going to turn on Damian. I think Damian's going to be kicked out of Judgment Day, even though they hold the titles. That's my prediction.
That may be. Yeah, I definitely think they're going to retain. I don't know if they're going to pull the trigger yet, because that's another big question that I've thought about doing a whole episode on is, poor Damian Priest and this Money in the Bank, this cash in, what we're running out of time. Mania's around the corner. So it's like, what are you going to do? Because you can't do nothing with Seth because, he's going to barely be cleared to wrestle by Mania. And it's like, what are you going to do? I mean, if I was booking it, I would say let him hold it, because WWE don't go by their own rules anyway half the time.
No, they don't.
I'd let him hold it past Mania, let Cody win the title, and then the next Friday on SmackDown, Cody show up and Priest cash it in then and take the title off Cody, and then just really make the internet burn.
Oh man, it would too. And I like Damian Priest. I think Damian Priest, he's definitely worthy of holding, a world title, universal title, because he's one of the better ones they have right now. And he's just
and see the whole thing with him, and I feel sorry for him because he was really the last man out on all this with Punk showing up, and then Punk and Seth, and then Punk goes down, but it looks like it's, you got Drew and Seth, and then The Rock and Roman and Cody, and it's like he just sort of went to the wayside when all this other stuff happened. So I sort of feel for him. So, but they could split up, and that may be something that happens. I don't know. I didn't really think about it happening at Perth, but that is a good possibility.
Yeah, and he might crack somebody upside the head with the briefcase. And of course, we know Seth's not going to be there, so he can't cash in. He can't cash in on anybody down in Australia.
No.
Well, unless he cashes in on Logan Paul just to get the U.S. title. But I don't see that happening. They made that mistake once with Austin Theory.
Yeah.
So you're thinking Judgment Day also over the New Catch Republic?
Oh yeah. Yeah.
And I think it'll be clean, but at the same time, if they don't split up, honestly, they'll definitely have some major seeds planted because it's been brewing for a while.
Yeah.
You know,
Yeah.
so
Because I'm actually thinking, I don't know when, and I know they've been all these tournaments and stuff, but I would not be surprised if they don't go back eventually to the Creed brothers and give them a big push and let them take the tag titles.
Dwaylen says, Dunn and Bate win the tag titles. The Judgment Day have had them long enough.
Okay.
No, I mean, yeah, because if everybody who's listened to the show for a while, you know, Dwaylen just doesn't give a, okay, here's who's going to win. He'll actually justify why he thinks that. So, but I like that. The Judgment Day have had them long enough. It's like, all right. So you know what? If they do lose it, that does make sense
that would make another reason for them to split up. So possibly.
Yep. So, all right. Next match they have listed. And God, they get this. By the way, I'm trying to think how long between contestants coming out of the pods is it? Is it 5 minutes, 3 minutes?
I think it's 5.
Okay, so these matches are guaranteed to last 30 minutes.
Right.
So, or at least 25 minutes, 25 and a half minutes, 25 minutes and 3 seconds. That's how much they're guaranteed to last. But we'll say at least 30 minutes. So that means that one and the other one, 2 Elimination Chamber matches, at least 30 minutes. 2 other matches, you're talking 15, 20 minutes. And it's going to be a 4-hour show.
Well, I figure the men's, because, you know, Triple H likes his long matches, even though it takes 5 minutes for each one of them to get out. You may have a couple of pins before everybody gets out, but I'm thinking by the time the last ones get in there, the men's will probably go close to an hour. I don't know if you'll have the women's go, you know.
I could see the women. I mean, these women they're talented, so they could handle it for an hour. I just like at the Rumble, the women's Rumble was actually a lot better than the men's Rumble. And
we'll see a bunch of videos hyping Mania and some interviews and all that. So that'll take up the majority of the show. And then Grayson Waller effect, his little talk.
They're doing that. That's right.
Yeah. So that'll be a good 10, 15 minute segment probably by the time somebody gets in a fight. So.
And Grayson Waller, isn't he also Australian?
Yeah, that's because he wasn't in the chamber, so they had to get him on the show there, because he'd been doing a lot of the press and some of the news media and stuff like that. So,
but they don't have Bronson Reed. They really missed out.
Yeah, that one was a little weird.
You know, what if he shows up anyway?
That might be.
But the next one they have listed, the Women's Elimination Chamber. Becky Lynch versus Bianca Belair versus Liv Morgan versus Tiffany Stratton versus Naomi versus Raquel Rodriguez. What do you think?
I think they already foreshadowed this with their kickoff show when they had Becky Lynch and Rhea Ripley on the stage together. So I think that's your money match. So I think Becky's going to win it and get her, because she's never won a chamber match. Because I'm guessing that maybe we might see Bianca, if she gets a Mania match. They may still do something in the next month with building up Jade Cargill because of that spot in the Rumble they had with each other.
Okay.
So you may get a Bianca and Jade. So Bianca doesn't have to worry about the championship, but you'll have probably Becky and, winning the chamber is my pick.
And, the thing about Jade Cargill, I get, because I've been wondering, when are they ever actually going to have her in the ring? She finally came in the Rumble, but now there's rumors they're saying she actually was not ready.
Right.
And I was kind of surprised because she was lighting it up in AEW, but, and I don't want to disparage AEW because I like wrestling. I like all wrestling.
Right.
But it does kind of make you wonder because she was an AEW product. She had never been anywhere else besides there. Yeah. So it's kind of like the ones from WCW before they finally caller today. It's like they were not preparing them for, like, they were preparing them for being that company, but they weren't preparing them to necessarily be in all companies because,
right.
and so that's what it kind of feels like now. And Jade Cargill, I mean, she's got a good look. I mean, and she's built. I mean, there's like very little body fat on her. So putting her up against Bianca, that's going to be, not big women, but I mean, but very muscular. And
Right.
I saw a video recently of Bianca, her working out. I'm like, okay, that explains why she is just freakishly strong.
Yeah.
But so you think, yeah, I was actually thinking Becky too, same reason, and because it is the money match. In fact, she was Dwalen's pick for the Rumble. And
yeah, well, she was mine too. She was
that's
mine
right, yeah.
too. I had her picked too.
Like I said, that is the money match, and I'm glad they're not pulling the trigger for it at Perth. Because they're not going to have Rhea Ripley. She's not going to drop the title in her home country. I don't know if she's actually from Perth, but at least her home country.
Right.
And that's a Vince thing. Vince is gone.
Yeah.
And I don't think he's coming back this time.
The one thing, and I know we haven't got to that, but I will say that's the one thing that I think that they should have amped up before this was the Nia Jax, Becky Lynch stuff, history, just a little bit more to make you believe, okay, most of us think Becky's going to win, but that way it's like, well, maybe Nia has a chance because there's history there too.
Yep.
The money match is Rhea, but there is history. So maybe that would make that outcome a little bit more predictable and I'll just go ahead and go on into it. I think Rhea's going to win, but
same here.
I think with Nia, she's been on one of the best runs she's ever been since she's been in WWE. This time, I think that she has. They've really presented her as that monster, and there'll be at least one or two near falls where that suspension, that 1% of disbelief will hit my head, and they're like, they're going to change title. They're going to change title. I'll bite on it. I guarantee you, I will. Even though my head knows it's not going to happen, but I'll be caught up in a moment, and I'm going to be like, they're going to switch the daggone title.
Or was it Simon on What Culture Wrestling? The 1-2, ooh.
Yeah.
I love that. I need to get one of his shirts, by the way.
Yes.
1-2, ooh.
Yeah, and 2 + 2 equals potato.
Yes, and Barry the Barricade and Rita the Ring Post. I love listening to Simon. Yeah, you and him actually have the same haircut.
Yes, we do now.
And I would love to get any of those guys on the show. Or love to hear them on your show as well. I hate to see it, because they might actually charge. But yeah, I'm looking at all the women in this match, and honestly, Becky is the obvious choice. I could see Bianca, and that's about it, because I don't really see Liv doing it. Tiffany Stratton is too new. Naomi just came back,
right?
So it's too early to push her.
What I think the women's chamber match is going to be more about is setting up other matches, because I can see we've already seen backstage segments with Tiffany and Naomi.
Yep.
So they'll have some big to do in the chamber, which may set up either a Mania match or at least a SmackDown kickoff before Mania. You know how they always call it that. There'll be something to set them up. Liv, she just came back, but I think they know no matter what Liv does, she's like Taylor Swift. She has a big online following, no matter what she's doing. And so they know that'll get some views when they show some YouTube clips and stuff like that. I've been guilty of it myself on the back end on some of my videos. I'll just put hashtag Liv Morgan, even though it has nothing to do with my video, but I'll put it in there just in case.
You know what? I need to do that here. Remind me.
Yeah, I do that. I put a lot of stuff that has nothing to do with my video, but I put it on the back end on the hashtags just in case. But yeah, to me, like I said, Rhea, maybe Bianca, but I still am thinking, I just think it's going to be Becky, but But like I said, I think some of the other matches and feuds will come out of the other women mingling in there. I think it's one of those things where it's a plot device to set up other storylines after the Chamber and going into Mania and after that.
Although I would like to see Raquel Rodriguez get a little bit more of a push,
Yeah.
because she's got a good push, but she's kind of, hey, she just needs something else, just kind of lift her up a little bit more. Somebody must really like Tiffany Stratton, by the way, because she really just came up to the main roster and she's already been pushed pretty hard.
Well, and that's the thing. I don't watch NXT, but I do listen to some reviews just to see what's going on. And everybody says she's the real deal. So she may be in for a good push going forward. So,
well, what do you think of her as a heel, actually? You're the perfect man to ask.
I mean, she's great. It's the classic I'm better than you. It's the everything's, just like she, like I said, even though she's new on the roster, she's already acting like she owns the place. I love it. Just go in there with that attitude. And so, yeah, I think she'll do good. Again, it'll be all about the booking and how they do with her. But I think she's got a lot of potential, especially in that because the women's division, because I'm figuring with Tiffany, because that's the whole thing about the women is trying to figure out, which show they're on. Because if, then who's going to be the champion? Because like on SmackDown, if Bayley, I'm thinking, I'll go ahead and give early Mania prediction. I'm thinking Bayley goes ahead and goes over and wins the belt. And if she does, you got to start lining up heels on SmackDown for the women, to her, because she's going to turn, and then there's some predicting she's going to bring back the Bayley buddies. So it's, you got to find some heels for her. And then the other thing, if Becky wins, and then if she beats Rhea again, then you got to have those heels lined up for Becky. So either one, if you got two baby faces on both brands, you got to line them heels up. So yeah, I'm all for Tiffany.
Yeah, because you're just waiting for somebody just to slap her because she's just running her mouth, and that makes a good heel right there.
Oh yeah, yeah.
So I'll go ahead and jump to the men's chamber. Drew McIntyre versus Randy Orton versus Bobby Lashley versus LA Knight versus Kevin Owens versus Logan Paul. Okay, man, that's a lot of names. All right. So just looking over it, I'm thinking, all right, I always think, all right, who makes the most sense? But at the same time, that almost, like you said, it seems too predictable at times. Because I don't think many people didn't predict Cody to win the men's Rumble.
Yeah.
Out of 30 possible people were always picking Cody because it made the most sense to everybody. And even looking at this, I'm like, okay, because it's whoever is going to be going against Seth Rollins, or whoever I'll just say the Raw champion. Whoever that champion is. And right now, I want to say Drew, and I mean part of that's because I'm a big Drew McIntyre fan, but at the same time, we already have Cody finishing his story. This would be like a heel Drew McIntyre finishing his story,
right?
So it's almost like it's like a yin yang. I mean, they're two parallel and two complementary of each other in a way. But you know what? LA Knight actually would make sense, I think.
I'm going to go with Drew because I think, like you said, I still think that story's there. The reason I think LA Knight will do good, but I think because we've already had Kevin Owens and Logan Paul a couple of times, I think we're going to see LA Knight and Logan Paul go at it in the chamber. And again, just like the women, that's going to be your WrestleMania match. And LA Knight is going to go over Logan Paul and take the U.S. title.
Now, do you think Logan Paul, do you think he actually stays away from wrestling for a while? Do you think he stays? Because Logan Paul, I mean, I think he's shocked everybody. He's good. He's very good.
I think I think Logan Paul will. I think Logan Paul then will lose up. I think he will
Okay.
lose the U.S. title, and then see the U.S. title is on SmackDown, right?
Yes.
Okay. If you've got a face Cody Rhodes as your Universal Champion now on SmackDown going forward, Logan Paul would be a great heel for one of the first feuds that Cody goes into.
Hmm. And see, and this is why they just need to hire us.
Yeah. Because, see, I mean, eventually you've got the history with Gunther.
Yep.
And if the Intercontinental title would have been on SmackDown, I would have said Gunther, because eventually Gunther and Cody's going to have to finish their stuff. But if they're keeping the Intercontinental on Raw right now and with Gunther, I'm thinking if Cody's on SmackDown, you got to have those first couple of PLEs that you got to have a good heel. So if Logan Paul loses, WWE is notorious for that. You lose up, you lose your mid card belt, and within a month, you're going after the world title on whatever brand. So I think that's where you get Logan Paul and Cody. That would be a great stuff, because you got Logan Paul going after Cody on his talk show, on his podcast, stuff like that. You got some promo battles and things like that. And I think they would have a really good match. So that's where I'm thinking the Logan Paul aspect is him and LA Knight are going to end up at Mania, because WWE pushed LA Knight because he was so over. They had to.
Mm-hmm.
But they do not, but just for me, mindset, they don't believe in LA Knight as being a world champion yet. They just don't see him as the face. But they want to reward him, so give him the U.S. title.
Okay. Yeah, because LA Knight, I mean, he is just so over right now.
Yeah.
So, but with him, I'm really hoping it doesn't hit a thing where all of a sudden he gets the world title, but then he has nowhere to go, because he's already over, like he is the champion. Then he gets up there and he's already at the peak, and he can't go any further. And it's not a knock on him. It's just, they've already pushed him almost too hard in a way.
And see, the other thing with LA Knight, give him the U.S. title a month or two from now. Kevin Owens wanted that U.S. title. Let's let Kevin Owens turn heel again. He's a great heel. And a great promo battle between Kevin Owens and LA Knight. I think that would be money. That might even be a good SummerSlam match.
Yep.
So I guess I'm just sort of trying to look 2 or 3 PLEs ahead and trying to figure out what they're doing with some of this stuff. And, Bobby Lashley will be there for the big spots. And who knows, you may even have, I think it'd be hilarious if the, what they're called, the Authors of Pain and Testament or whatever, maybe they show up and tear the pod up, just have a big thing on the outside, and Bobby Lashley has to fight through them before he can even get in the chamber, something crazy like that. So Bobby Lashley will be there for all that kind of stuff. Logan Paul will be, what was it, last year before, Montez Ford doing all the crazy stuff from the top of the thing.
Yep.
So you'll have Logan Paul doing that. He'll do some kind of flip off the top of the pod and all that.
He is fearless. I mean, he's not afraid to put his body on the line.
No. So you'll have some of them spots, but at the end, and also I think they're wanting to do everything they can for Drew to make sure he re-signs. Because the last report I heard, they were close to a deal, but it still hadn't been signed.
Oh, really? Okay, I thought he had already signed.
Well, I know they said it was almost, but maybe I didn't read it. So that's the thing. Man, I love this heel Drew, though. I mean, this is some of the best work he's done. I love this Drew. But I just think he will be the one to win and go on against Seth. And then again, like I said, Damian Priest, wherever he falls in this with his cash in or lack of cash in, because we haven't had a man to actually make a successful cash in a little while now. So I don't know.
And Priest cashing in at WrestleMania would not be as popular as when Rollins cashed in.
Right.
And
right.
And I just like bringing up when Rollins cashed in because I actually predicted it. That's
okay.
one, one of the only times I've ever gotten a wild prediction correct. Because I actually told Dwayne, I was like, Rollins is going to cash in at WrestleMania. Now, the part I did get wrong was I said he's going to cash in after the match is over. Him jumping in the middle of the match, making a triple threat. Now that one caught me off guard.
Right.
But I told that to Dwayne, and in one of my classes I was in at the time, there was a guy in there. He was also another big wrestling fan, and I told him the same thing. I'm like, Rollins is going to cash in. I said they have not mentioned it yet, but I said he's going to cash in. And then at the beginning of the program, they started talking about, well, Seth Rollins is here. He's got the money in the bank. I'm like, yep, he's going to do it. But he came in and they were like.
Now I will say, if it wasn't so predictable and everything else, I wouldn't mind to see LA Knight, because if you check out the newest YouTube video of Ted Sakes, I have a correlation between a story in 1994 of Dustin Rhodes and Arn Anderson as a tag team, and Arn might have turned on Dustin. And the question I ask everybody is, can we trust Seth? So if Seth Rollins, just throwing it out there, was to turn, if they do the tag on night one, if he did turn on Cody and cost a match, night two, when he did have to defend his title, I don't care how much and how much of his theme song you sing, he would be a definite heel and have heat for messing up with Cody. So therefore, it would be good to have an over baby face like LA Knight to wrestle him.
Yep. Man.
So,
and see, and
so I'm just saying, I mean, there's a couple things. Just 90% of me says Drew, but 10% of it, I could go with LA Knight.
Yeah, and Drew, like I said, Drew, I mean, is one. My wife actually got me a Drew McIntyre shirt, not this past Christmas, but the Christmas before, and I actually thought about wearing today for the show. But no, I'm actually wearing a True Crime Cast. My friends Jamie and John, who actually run that podcast, so I'm going to give them a shout out as well. I will tag them.
I'm wearing Danhausen just because it was clean in the dryer.
I see. You know what? And sometimes that's all it takes. And speaking of Danhausen, are you going to be able to see him soon live in person? That's something we haven't even talked about yet.
Well, I did see he was on Ring of Honor recently. They put him back down on there. But I will be going next weekend to Revolution, Sting's last match.
And you were watching wrestling. You were living in North Carolina when you were a kid watching wrestling.
No, I was older before I moved. Yeah, but I watched everything Mid-Atlantic, so I was familiar with the Carolinas, and I've been to several shows since we've been down here. Went to Collision at Charlotte in January there. So, it's one of those things. In Greensboro, I mean, just growing up, it was always Greensboro, but Starrcade, all that stuff. To go to see Sting's live, and the card's looking pretty stacked right now, so it's going to be good. I'm really getting into this FTRB Blackpool Combat Club feud that's going on. So Ospreay, I'm excited because that'd be the first time I've ever seen Ospreay live, so that's going to be good.
I mean, now I have seen Sting in person. I saw him at a fan fest. It was, in fact, almost a year ago today, or a year ago here in a couple of weeks, because here in a couple of weeks, I'm actually going to another fan fest, same place, except for myself and Rescue Randy. We're actually going to be helping. But I saw Sting. I have a picture. He's up on this one balcony. It was at it's in the gymnasium, the basketball arena for the Ohio University Chillicothe campus. But of course, like Sting, they had him like up because they need to have room for the big line. And that line was literally wrapped around the court. But I was not about to pay, I think it was $250 to stand in that line. I was like, not going to happen,
I did, and I forgot. I had some pictures for you. I'll send them to you. I forgot to do that. This past Sunday, we went to a horror con monster mash thing. My wife loves those, but they have other stuff there too. And they had Arn, and I got another picture with Arn and Brock. So
Nice.
I've got many of them. This time I got to hold his TV title. He had
really.
Yes, so I've got that.
But this right here, you'd appreciate this. I meant to have it up already.
Oh yeah. Mid-Atlantic Heavyweight Championship.
Yes, sir. And I need to look and see who all is going to be the thing in Chillicothe to see if there's any of the old Mid-Atlantic champions who may have held this belt.
I've been to WrestleCons, I've been to stuff, but the biggest line I've ever seen in my life was this when we went on Saturday. We did I got it for my wife. This was part of her Christmas present. We did a photo op with Kiefer Sutherland and Lou Diamond Phillips' Young Guns backdrop.
Oh, nice.
And Kiefer Sutherland, he did a single picture, the Young Guns with Lou Diamond Phillips, and then he was also with Jason Patrick and did a Lost Boys thing. And all three of them lines were all the way through the building. I mean, Kiefer was and then she also got pictures with Bo and Luke Duke. They were there.
See, that'd be the one I'd be like, run over there real quick. And,
I felt sorry for Luke. We got through Luke's line pretty quick, but John Schneider's was a little bit out the door there. It was a little bit longer. So.
Tom Wopat and John Schneider.
Yeah.
So
well, and then John Schneider was also there for they had a bunch of the people from Smallville doing stuff.
Okay.
So he was doing both. He was doing Dukes of Hazzard and Smallville. So
I would have gone for the Dukes of Hazzard. Now I'm gonna have to tell my daughter that they just did that and they had the Lost Boys. My 21-year-old daughter, Lost Boys is her favorite movie.
Yeah.
So I think that's actually all the matches. We actually already talked about Rhea Ripley and Nia Jax. I think that's going to be that's going to be a hard hitting match.
That's going to be a great match. Yeah. I think it's going to be a great match. But again, I think since they've already showed Rhea and Becky on the stage during that kickoff, I just can't see them going any other way with it. But I do think it'll be a good match. And like I said, Nia will get a couple of near falls where I'll bite on it. I'll be, but it'll be a great match, I think.
Yeah, the 1-2 ooh.
Yeah, the 1-2 ooh, and I'll be like, oh, so that's the thing I tell everybody. And I think I've said on my show, but I tell people when they ask me about wrestling and they talk about it being predetermined and what about these matches where who's going to win? And I always go back to Revenge of the Sith. Obi-Wan and Anakin fighting on the molten lava.
Yep.
I know who's going to win because Obi-Wan is in A New Hope. So I know Obi-Wan wins, but still there's moments in that battle I forget and I lose and I'm like, oh God, Anakin's going to beat him, And then it's like, no, he's in the next movie. He's going to make it through it, and that's the whole thing. It's one of those things where you get caught up in the emotion of the match. And sometimes, like I said, that's all it is. That's us as wrestling fans. All we want is 1% doubt. That's all we need is 1%.
And because sometimes, you do have those upsets where somebody you would not expect. So, but, do you have anything else for us, Ted?
No, I think that's it. I think I think everybody, especially the diehard WWE fans, and even I'm this year wanting to find out what's going on is, it's just what's going to happen to Mania, what's going to happen with The Rock and what's going to happen with Cody and, and I will say it's, I didn't know. I knew Cody would get a good reaction when he first went back to WWE from AEW, but I guess I'm still amazed at how, over and how much all this has gotten to where, he played his part. He done his stuff. He left He left when he needed to leave to go out on his own. You know, when he was doing the Stardust and all that stuff,
Yes.
he reinvented himself, helped, start the competition, and then goes back to the company where he was originally at. And now he's the next John Cena. He's the
Yeah.
face of the company. And, I think it's great for him. I really do. So, it's just getting all this WrestleMania stuff and figuring that out. And like I said, Revolution, I'm really excited for that. And that's the thing, and you've said it on your podcast and I've said it on mine. It's just, don't get caught up in the drama of this company versus this company. Just enjoy it. Enjoy
Exactly.
what you enjoy. And there's so much stuff out there. You can enjoy a little bit of everything. And if there's something you don't like, you don't have to watch it. You don't have to, you can critique it in good faith, but still, you don't have to be mean about it.
Yeah, because I see way too much of that where somebody favors one company over the other. And I'm like, don't do that, because, the wrestlers, they go back and forth between the companies.
Oh, yeah.
So, but that's all I have. Thank you so much, Ted, for filling in.
No problem.
And in fact, you know what? I gave Dwaylen's one prediction. Let me finish the rest. I totally almost forgot about it. Let's see. Because I already said, he said Dunn and Bate win the tag titles. Judgment Day has had it long enough. He said Mommy beats Nia.
Yeah.
Rhea and Becky is a WrestleMania money match. I love Nia, and he does. Dwayne's a big Nia Jax fan, but it isn't her time. Same thing you said about Becky wins the Women's Chamber. They pretty much spoiled that one.
Yeah.
And wow, he said Drew wins the Men's Chamber. He is doing such good heel work that I don't see them booking him to lose. He pinned Cody on Raw, and Cody is the baby face of the company. Plus, him and Seth is a good story.
Yeah.
So,
there you go.
So, man, you and Dwaylen, I think, well, except for the Dunn and Bate, because I think we both said Judgment Day.
Yeah, I think Judgment Day, right? Yeah.
Yep. So, but like I said, thank you again for coming on.
Appreciate it.
The podcasting community has been, especially for us, because wrestling, we're kind of a niche fan base in a way.
Oh, yeah.
We really stick together. That's why it's always nice when we can actually help each other out. Because if you ever want me on the show, I've always been there, and all the other shows I mentioned, like Finisher Wrestling, like BC Hunter was wrestling with the 80s, like the Dad World Order. I don't know if you had a chance to check it.
I keep up with them guys. Yeah.
Oh yeah, they're great guys. Of course I've met them in person, and some of the other ones, botch spots and chair shots, and then
Will Gray, my man, Will Gray. Yep.
Yes, and there was another one I just started subscribing to them, and I cannot remember. There's another one that you have on your show quite a bit. It wasn't weird. Okay, but there's so many other ones out there. I mean, that I try to keep up with all of them, and so then I feel bad because I can't remember all the names.
Yeah, that I am too. There's a couple that I talk to on a regular basis, but there's so many great ones out there. And subscribe, listen, watch them. Give them some love. Give them some love. If you're an audio person, listen to them on the audio. If you're a YouTube person, and watch them on the YouTube. Put something in the comments, even if it's a smiley face or a thumbs up emoji or something. That helps the algorithm, or as I like to say, the logarithm. Okay.
The logarithm.
Yes. It helps it out. That makes YouTube think, oh, they've commented, I'm going to push it more, and keep, we support each other and just have a good time and just keep on, because wrestling right now, I know the viewership on all the channels is not like it was during the Monday Night Wars, but still, I think we're in another boom period. We're really,
I agree.
With everything going on, New Japan, TNA, and, and Crazy Billy Corgan, he's trying to get streaming and all that kind of stuff now,
I have some of his CDs. It's like, all right, good enough.
Yeah, I like some pumpkin smashing music, but I don't know how I feel about him as a booker. I'll just put it that way. Okay. But we've got so much going on. So just enjoy it, guys, and don't get toxic on there. If you're going to debate, do it civilized. Civilized.
Woo, and that'll wrap it up. So once again, Ted, thank you. And hopefully I can be on your show again here soon, or have you
Yep.
come back on mine. But until we can actually meet again, my friend, God bless.